All right, well, welcome back, truckers, to Inside Trucking. This is episode 11. Boy, we've really come that far. Today is Sunday, November 2nd, 2025, and this episode is entitled 1, 2, Duffy's coming for you, right? It's Halloween weekend, and hope you had a nice Halloween. And boy, did Secretary Duffy drop a treat or a trick, depending on who you are, on Friday during Halloween. So let's get into it here, folks. Let's talk a little bit about the breaking news as to what happened on Friday and what it means for drivers, what it means for carriers, trucking companies, private carriers, what it means for the industry as a whole in terms of what's coming next on the English language proficiency, illegal immigrant trucker front, and what you should do to prepare for what's coming. Okay, so on Friday, Secretary Duffy announced that USDOT and FMCSA will now target trucking companies using non-English language proficient drivers who don't speak English. And so we're going to tell you what you can do if you're a trucking company to prepare for the audits that are most likely coming. But here's the tweet that tells us what's about to happen and who's about to be affected. Friday, Secretary Duffy tweets, "I will hold trucker companies and shippers that load up big rigs accountable. A company can't hire a trucker and do it knowing they can't speak English." And this was in connection with the Fox News Will Kane show. Will is tagged on the tweet, and you can see that on Secretary Duffy's Twitter page from Friday. It basically shows that segment of the Will Kane show. So, folks, this has broad, implications here. Now, not only are they going to go after drivers who don't speak English and pull them, off the road, and if they're illegal immigrants, arrest them and deport them. Homeland Security put out tweets on Friday. ICE put out tweets on Friday. I mean, folks, they're taking like hundreds, if not thousands, of people off the road, a day, and a week. It's insane what they're doing here. I mean, in a good way. The ramifications now are beyond drivers. Now, if you are a trucking company and you have non-English speaking, non-ELP compliant drivers on your payroll behind the wheel of your trucks, you're in big trouble. They're coming for you. It reminds me of that. I posted a tweet yesterday on Saturday about this just to be funny. It reminds me of what a non-English speaking illegal immigrant trucker must be going through right now. They're going to get me on the road any moment. They might, And so I said, you should go home and you should, lock your door and close down the shades, the blinds, and turn off all the lights. Go down into the basement and watch this YouTube video. And I tagged, "They're coming to take me away." I mean, it's funny, but it's serious because, folks, 14 people that we know of this year have been killed, due to illegal immigrant truckers who don't speak English. So, let's try to have a little bit of fun here, but at the same time, recognize, the seriousness of this issue and ultimately, the implications, that are about to come down the pike. So when he says shippers, now wait a minute. I remember Chris Burrows at TIA making an argument, trying to get out of having to be transparent, his members being transparent, right? He made the argument that brokers are shippers. cars. Now, FMCSA wasn't having any of that in last year in the November 2024, rulemaking. They said, no, that's not the case. Brokers are distinctly different and they need to be licensed as third-party intermediaries. But they did say that, and now that may be coming back to haunt them and bite them as of Halloween. So, folks, if he says trucking companies, motor carriers, private motor carriers, shippers, brokers is next, right? In fact, we even asked for Derek Bars to look into that yesterday, and he responded to us on a Saturday, and he said, thank you for the information. And we said, you should really audit the brokers, because if the brokers are enabling the carriers who are hiring the drivers that don't speak English and that are illegal immigrants, we know that the regulations say the carrier is liable. But isn't that like some kind of vicarious liability? I mean, TIA has some kind of lawyer who does webinars on that kind of topic. So, we'll leave it to you folks to tell your members about that. But come on now. I mean, there are U.S. codes in the criminal title, 18 USC, right? I think it's Section 2 that says you can't aid and abet. And I think it's Section 3 that says you can't be an accessory after the fact, enabling the hiring of illegal immigrants. It's a crime, folks, and so we told Derek Bars that. He said, thank you. So I guess it's on their radar now, right? So, and you're welcome, brokers, for, blowing the whistle. That's what we do here. We're Watchdog Trade Association. Anyway, so folks, there's all this discussion going on about, now trucking companies and private motor carriers are now being targeted. And so SBTC said, we can't cause all this stuff because, we did. We started this in 2022, bringing this English language proficiency issue up. And then again in January when the Trump administration kicked off, Trump was back, Secretary Duffy was in. We hit them up January, February. We said, hey, English language proficiency. And then, what happened next? April, in March, we put out a call for Connor's Law, right? By the way, tomorrow is would be Connor's birthday, so we're asking for a moment of silence for Connor Design, who tragically was killed by a trucker who didn't speak English in 2017. So, but we put out that call in March for Connor's Law with Connor's mom, Melissa Design, and then in April, the president put out that executive order that said, no, Obama-era 2016 stand-down memo is gone, hereby, by executive order, and, we're going to enforce the law, or I should say we're going to enforce the regulation, because there needs to be a law, right? And we're going to require law enforcement to put these guys out of service when we catch them not speaking English, again, like we used to, right? So that all came down, and Secretary Duffy followed suit with a order of his own. CVSA put, ELP infractions back into the out of service order or criteria, I guess you would say, as of June 25th of 2025. And then a lot of things have followed, including our targeting of California and New York and Illinois and Pennsylvania, and asking for RICO investigations because these people are getting driver license that shouldn't from these liberal woke states. And California seems to be, the biggest offender. But now they're not only going after the states, and they're not only going after the drivers. Now they're going after the companies and the shippers. So folks, we decided we got to put something together to help motor carriers weather this storm and clean up their act if they are in a situation where they're vulnerable to enforcement action by USDOT and FMCSA. So, folks, what we did is we issued a regulatory compliance alert, and we advised everyone that we have partnered with a language assessment company to offer ELP driver assessment assessments for our SBTC corporate members. So basically, this is a company that's called Language Testing International. They were founded in 1992, and they're the exclusive licensee and sole source supplier of ACTFL. That's the American Council on the Teaching of Foreign Languages. That dates back to 1967, right? They're a leader in the development of language proficiency-based teaching and testing resources. And so these assessments, are available to motor carriers. We worked with these folks to determine an appropriate assessment program and level for truck drivers, for the position of truck drivers. And there's a whole scale that these folks follow, and it's all based on psychological analysis and research and validation studies and the like. So we're very proud to be able to offer this program through LTI. And now, if you're a corporate member of SBTC, you can request an evaluation, an entrance into this program, right? It'll cost you a fee to work with them, but you have access through us at a discounted rate that we've negotiated with them. And now you can get your drivers tested and certified that they are English proficient, that they do meet the standards for what a truck driver should be able to know and do, speak, read, and understand the English language in the performance of his or her job as a truck driver. So we're very happy to be able to announce that partnership. They do assessments in over 120 languages in over 80 countries. So these are the big boys. These folks know what they're doing, and they've done over 1 million yearly certified language assessments. Just within the past year alone. So, as a corporate member of SBTC, either you will, or if you become a member, you will enjoy discounts off of their testing products. Oral proficiency interview by computer is what they offer. Reading proficiency test. Easy to use client site portal for test administration, test administrator and test taker resources that you have at your disposal. And of course, you get test results and the data that you need 24/7, 365 days per year through their program. So to get started in that, you need to do two things, right? Number one, you need to either make sure your SBTC corporate membership is in good standing, that you have applied for or renewed your membership. This is for, the 2026 membership year that we're announcing this benefit, but it's available now. We're making it available early, immediately to all of our members. But 2026 membership is required. So you can do that by visiting our website, smalltransportation.org or truckers.com, either one, and go ahead and renew your membership. Or join for the first time. We'd love to have you. A lot of new companies are coming in. A lot of companies that are operating under an MX number that are based out of Mexico are very concerned about this. And there's probably about 1,500 carriers, that should be looking into this program, making sure that you have this certification. And by the way, if you're just a driver and you're not a big company or a small company, you're just an owner operator with your own authority, or even you're just a company driver, driving for a private carrier like Coca-Cola or Walmart, or you're driving for a trucking company like JB Hunter or whatever, you may want to get assessed yourself, just to have, for peace of mind, a piece of paper in your wallet in case you get stopped and tested, right? So if you wind up at an inspection station and all of a sudden they say, okay, we're going to do English language assessment on you right now, you can whip out that certificate that these folks at LTI gave you as an individual driver, and you can say, look, I've been tested, I've been certified. Here's my certification, and that probably will go a long way, because these guys really don't want to have to do a test if it's not necessary. They'll skip you and move on to the next guy. So it may be a get out of service free card. This this new certification that SBTC is bringing to its members, both individual members and corporate members, depending on whether it's just for you or whether it's for your company as a whole. So once you renew or join SBTC through smalltransportation.org or truckers.com, then you can put in the information request to LTI. And we've set up a real easy way to do that, and that is through the domain ELPassessments.com. Once again, that's ELPassessments.com, and you'll see the SBTC LTI co-branded landing page there, information request. Just put your order number as your member number, when you come to that part of the information request portion of the form, because this is open to SBTC members, this program, and just put that in there and send it in, and then those folks will be in touch with you to provide more information. And by the way, within the next week or so, we've arranged for LTI to offer a webinar. And we will announce the details of that on our homepage at the very top, smalltransportation.org and truckers.com. You'll see it up there within the next week. Don't miss that webinar. It'll tell you a lot more information, more details, and how these assessments and these certificates of compliance, essentially, certificates of English language proficiency can help your company or you as a driver, get out of trouble. And if you're a driver, you could wind up using this when you apply for your next position with a company, certification that you've been assessed and that you are ELP proficient, because carriers have an obligation under 49 CFR 391.11, I think it's 11A. They have an obligation to make sure that their drivers, like you, are in fact ELP compliant. And so this will help them make that determination. So with that said, folks, I'm just glad to be able to put this program together for the industry, for our members. Hopefully a lot of you, will become members because you see the value in the services that we do offer, not only lobbying, litigation, and the like, but, actual services like telehealth and all these discounts off of, motels and vehicle rentals and things like that when you join the SBTC. So hopefully you will join. It's $75 per driver if you come in individually, and it's $550 for a company. And if you're an industry supplier like LTI, who is a member of SBTC, industry supplier member, you can come in at $750 a year, and then you can partner with us, and we can help match up you and the products and services you have to sell to drivers and companies with our motor carrier and small business members. So hopefully you folks will take a look at what SBTC has to offer, including this new LTI program. We like to say, we've been around for about 10 years. We're not the big boys, as you know, but we're also not your grandpa's trade association, right? And we mean business, as you can tell from all of the advocacy things that we're doing. Hopefully you'll watch not only this episode of Inside Trucking, but the other 10, and the more episodes that are yet to come. So with that said, folks, be warned that enforcement is coming against motor carriers. trucking companies and private motor carriers and maybe even brokers and shippers. So stay tuned for that. It's all good stuff, though, folks. It's all, along the lines of our favorite moniker at this point, which, as you know, is let's help make the roads safe again. So I'm James Lamb. Thanks for being with me again on a Sunday afternoon, and hope you have a great week, and we'll look forward to seeing you next Sunday with the week's breaking news, most likely from Secretary Duffy, about what he's going to do with the state of California. We're all on pins and needles with that one. They just answered that public citizen lawsuit, right? On Friday, so that's next up on their list of things to do. So stay tuned, and we will be back right after these messages. Take care.